Hello everyone, welcome to my reading corner, and today I'm going to do a review because I feel like it gets to the point when I do reviews, sometimes I get to the point where I just talk about how I feel, and I don't think that's necessarily a good review of a book. But my review of Sweetbitter by Stephanie Danler. This is a book about this young 22-year-old woman, Tess, who leaves home and in her midwestern town and heads to New York and applies for a job at a high-class restaurant. And she gets the job, and she begins to learn how fast-paced the restaurant biz is and how intimidating it can be, and how the world is not, how people aren't always nice. And people are very complicated and messy. And while she's at the restaurant, while working there, she makes friends with one of the waitresses, who is also the wine expert, Simone. And she also ends up having a romantic relationship, although I wouldn't call the relationship romantic, or at least not the kind of romantic that's really sweet and fluffy, with Jake the bartender. But what Tess realizes is she has gotten herself mixed up in a sort of love triangle between the three of them. Like, Jake and Simone grew up together and they have a very intimate relationship. Not that they're actually together they're not having a sexual relationship or anything, that I don't think. I don't remember. But they are very devoted to each other. And Tess kind of gets mixed up in all that, even though she's warned by her co-workers, no, you don't need to be messing with Jake. His relationship with Simone is very complicated and messy, and you shouldn't be involved in it. But she, who being a very naive person who wants to experience life, continues to pursue and date Jake, even though he treats her like crap, in my opinion. This is such an interesting book. I do agree that it's not everybody's cup of tea. And some people might just passionately not like this book. And I'm not in love with this book, but I do think it is a very interesting book. And I did watch one before. I was very close to the end. And it's not like with a science fiction novel or fantasy or mystery or any of the other genre novels where you shouldn't, the ending, I feel like I wouldn't want to be, it's going to be a big deal if I watch a review that spoils the ending for me. Which, I know apparently, I've heard some of the reviews I watched said that people did not like the ending, and I personally don't get that. I don't think there's anything wrong with the ending. I felt it was very open-ended, but also very, very realistic. But I guess not everybody wants realism. Some people want the fairy tale ending. And maybe I'm totally wrong there. But that's the only thing I can come up with, that people wanted a fairy tale ending. An ending that told you exactly what happened. Or why it happened this way. But, the first reviewer I watched said that this book was very accurate to how it works in the restaurant. She's been working in restaurants all her life, and she says it's very accurate, not just the fast-pacedness of working at a restaurant, but also the drugs, everybody sleeping with everybody kind of situation, which I was very amused by at the same time. It was very, this is pretty accurate. But, I really now this book, the way it was written was it was by seasons, but then it was 5 to 6 chapters per season, and then within those chapters it was written. Some of them started out in second person, it was also written in paragraphs, and I feel like that reflects the last time I filmed this, I kept calling her Tessa, and now I'm still doing it. I still keep calling her Tessa. I don't know why. But, I think because I'm thinking of, Shadowhunter Chronicles by Cassie Clare, and one in the Infernal Devices, the main character's name is Tessa. But where was I? So the writing. It, like I said, it was written in. I feel like it kind of reflects Tess's mood and how she's in the moment, because this was not written in, like, I don't think this was. Let me look. Well, I guess yeah, it was written in third person, or it was written in. I mean, it's written in first person, but it's third person tense, I think. But anyway, and like I said, it felt very in the moment, and the first reviewer I watched, who said this was accurate interpretation of working in a restaurant, was saying how she feels like the second person. The reason why the author puts the beginnings of some chapters in second person is like Tessa's, it, reflects the state Tessa's mind is in that moment. And I think for me, I want to add to that I feel like she was trying to, like, it's kind of like those moments where you're psyching yourself out and trying to get yourself to focus and calm yourself, like, psyching yourself up, psyching yourself out, saying you need to do this, or okay, you need to calm down, or you need to focus, or you need to get yourself together. Kind of like when you're talking to yourself in the mirror and you're preparing yourself mentally for the next step to solve the problem, or like when you have to go do something that you have to prepare for, like an appointment that's making you nervous, or like an interview, or like you have to go to work and face a problem that you had in the day before. Like mentally, like I said, mentally prepare yourself. I feel like that the second those parts when it was going to second person was Tess mentally preparing herself and getting herself together. That's why I feel that's my interpretation of what the second person. And I don't know if that reviewer, I don't remember if that reviewer, that's what she was meaning what she was saying with the whole second person thing or not. But that's my interpretation of why the author chose to be write in second person in the beginning of some of the sections. But I really like this writing style. I think it fit the story and fit the mood. Now, character-wise, I felt this was one of the times where I actually did feel like I could relate to Tess in a way. Of course, as I'm reading this, I'm much older than she is in the story. I'm 29, but I still feel like, first of all, I always say that I'm mentally younger than my actual age implies anyway. So I feel like I can relate to her, and I feel like if I were in the situation, that this would be me, very shy and experienced and easily impressionable and easy to manipulate and control in a way. Not in an evil mustache twirling kind of way, but just, again, I feel like Jake and Simone manipulate Tess in a way. And now, I don't know exactly if I would handle the situations that she's in the way she would, but I do feel like if I'm working at a restaurant, I wouldn't be able to handle it. I would break down easily and freak out and panic if I was working at a restaurant. And I do admire her for being able to keep up, even though everyone's like, she's not as confident, as assured, and as, as some of her coworkers. I still think she's an admirable person for being able to handle the situation. To be able to toughen up a little bit. Even though even though the impression that she gave her coworkers was that she was very naive and inexperienced. I mean, there's one scene in the book where they're having a work party, and there's these awards that they're given out, and she gets the award that she thinks she's not going to get anything, but she does get the award of someone you would want to be stuck in an elevator with. And she thinks, oh, these people would love to the person who nominated me would love to actually hang out with me and talk to me. But then she finds out, I think from Jake, that really what that means is a person you think is really attractive and you probably want to have sex with them. Like getting stuck in an elevator would mean the chance to have sex with this person. And it hits her pretty hard. And she does not take it very well. She gets really upset. And Simone is the one that has to kind of talk to her and be like, honey, you can't show them weakness. If you get upset about this and you don't pull yourself together, you're showing them weakness and vulnerability. Because unfortunately, yes, she has no choice in the matter. She has to toughen up. And I don't know if I could do that myself. But like I said, I feel like I could still I relate to her, but I don't know if I would be able to make the choice that she does. I don't know if I would be brave enough. Now, I like to think that I wouldn't be dumb enough to fall for Jake. But who knows? Maybe I would, because I feel like Jake is just he's a bad boy. He has tattoos. I think he doesn't have a bike, and he's kind of very blunt. One of those people who thinks he knows everything and thinks he's superior. And he's so judgmental. Like whenever Tess likes a song, he's like, "Oh dear God, you like the song?" You know, or it's so stupid. And he's so overly critical and tells her what to do. And I understand it to an extent why Tess fell for him, because it's like he's so hot, and there are women that I do think like guys like that are aggressive and and very like controlling and very much the one on top. So metaphorically speaking, I personally don't like it. That's where one of the things I believe we would differ. I don't know if I would date someone like Jake. But I do understand the appeal of someone like Jake. But his character, I just want to punch in the face sometimes. But there were also, actually most of the time I want to punch him in the face. You know, but there are times when I did feel a little sympathy for him, because he has this loyalty to Simone, who is such a selfish bitch. Now, as far as Simone goes, she, like I said, she's a selfish bitch, but she's also, you can tell that she does care about Tess, and does want to take her under her wing and be a kind of a mentor to her, because she sees Tess in her, or she sees herself in Tess, like she sees that's how she was before the world hardened her heart a little bit. And Tess does point that out to Jake, how they don't like her because they're jealous of that she's young and free-spirited and still has optimism and hope, while the world has hardened them and toughened them up. And I don't remember Jake's response to it, though. I'm very bad. I'm not one of those people who will take notes I probably should, but I don't, because I don't want to have to stop and, have a pen or a highlighter or a piece of paper on hand and, and I don't have any problem with defacing a book and putting stuff in the book, like notes in the margins and stuff like that. I'm not one of those people who is bothered by that, but I just don't like taking the time to do it, because then I might have to get up and stop reading and make a mental note, and if I wait until I'm done reading, then I have to go find that page where I decide to make a note. I mean, sometimes on occasion, every so often, I'll write a little something, but like I said, I don't like stopping, and I don't want to have to go searching for it, if I've stopped for a long, when I stopped reading. But, so Simone, but like I said, you can tell Simone does care about Tess, but she's so selfish. But at the same time, you kind of can understand her being like the whole thing about, you can sometimes understand and sympathize with her character, but other times, again, she's someone I just want to punch in the face, or I want to slap her. Because I feel like with a woman you gotta say you want to slap them, then with a guy you want to punch in the nuts or punch in the face. I mean, I but I definitely it's just such a complicated, messy relationship, but it's so fascinating to read. I think that's why sometimes people love, like, for the same reason people love reality TV, because these people and their chaotic lives are so fascinating, so interesting. Even though on the one hand you're rolling your eyes and thinking, oh, you're so stupid, or oh, poor you, but at the same time you can't stop watching it. I mean, not that I watch reality, I can't stand reality TV, but that's the best comparison I could come up with the story. Like, I feel like with Simone and Jay, they're like characters on a reality show where you just, and Tess too, where you just, on the one hand you can't look away, but on the other hand you just want to you just roll in your eyes and be like, you're all assholes, or you're all stupid or something. I don't know. Those are really the only characters I have anything to say. The other ones were just, like, either they felt one-dimensional or, like, there wasn't much to the other characters. I mean, there was a little bit, but not enough for me to have any strong feelings on these other characters. I didn't hate them. I didn't love them either. Like I said, the most feelings I had is I did get pissed off sometimes at how they acted towards Tess and how they were so brutally honest and kind of mean to her and judgmental of her. What else can I say about this? I don't know what else to say. I mean, I guess that's all I have to say about this book. It was a good read. Like I said, I can understand why not everybody would love this book. I personally enjoyed it. I thought it was a very interesting take on things. And it definitely makes me realize that I couldn't handle working at a restaurant. I'm good with working at a grocery store. I mean, I'm not great. I'm not completely good with it. But, compared to a restaurant, I'm perfectly content with working at a grocery store. I mean, that's fast-paced enough as it is. Of course, it helps living in the Carolinas because people are so, like, first of all, I live in a retirement community, originally a retirement community, so there's a lot of older people. But this is also, of course, those older people can get a little cranky sometimes, but it's very slow paced here, and people are actually nice here. So, I'm perfectly content with working in a grocery store rather than a restaurant. But like I said, Tessa's character I feel like is very admirable. She puts up with a lot of BS, and she grows a lot as a character. And I feel like even though she's not a teenager becoming an adult, I feel like you still have these moments of coming of age, like when you're still a young adult, like in your early 20s. I guess, at some point maybe that stops and you're no longer coming of age. I don't know, but I feel like this could still be considered a coming of age story because she's only 22. So she's still I feel like she's still growing. And even when you are, like, in your 30s or 40s, I think you're still growing as a person. I don't think you stop. I mean, I think there's a moment when you stop growing and you finally get it, and there's, I think so, maybe not, but yeah, I still consider this a coming of age story. There is a lot of vulgarity, like these people love saying the F word. I personally don't, but again, I don't, I'm also one of those people that even though I don't like the word, I'm not going to shy away from it when I read in a book. I'm not going to, I mean, sometimes I might replace the word in my head, because even if I'm not saying it out loud, I still feel like I should replace the word, and I shouldn't even think the word. But I'm not going to be, if a book says, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to be like, oh, this was so unnecessary, using this word. I don't think there's any, because people do. That, unfortunately, is part of our saying the F word about, like, as an explanation or something, or not even that, but unfortunately people will say it casually now. A lot of people in England apparently will say it casually. like in George R. R. Martin's books, A Song of Ice and Fire series, that word is said a lot, quite a bit. But I don't, I'm not gonna be like I said, I'm not gonna be like, oh, that's unnecessary. You don't need to use that word, because that's how people talk. People do talk like that. So, just a warning, there is vulgarity in this book. As far as language. I can't remember if there was really any. I don't think there was really any. Well, actually, yeah, there was some sex scenes, like, at very unconventional, no bedroom sex. There was, like, sex in cars and stuff, or sex in someone's office. But no, I don't think there was any scenes where people were having sex in an actual bed. I think it's mostly people having sex in very unique places. But anyway, but it was a good book. I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I'm still figuring out my rating system right now, so I couldn't really explain why, because at first I gave it 5 stars, then I put it down to 4 stars. So like I said, I can't really pinpoint exactly why, but like I'm not in love with the book. But I did really enjoy it. So those are my thoughts and feelings on Sweetbitter. Like I said, it's by Stephanie Danler, if you are interested in reading it. There it is. So if you like this, please give it a thumbs up and click subscribe if you have not already, and I would appreciate if you click the bell icon below if you want to know when I'm updating and posting my videos. I am trying to stick to a schedule, so I'm trying to stick to uploading videos on Wednesdays and Sundays, so I don't know how long I'm doing that. And as always, I hope you all are enjoying your reading, and I will talk to you later. Alright, bye!